Perspectives from the Void is an amateur philosophical podcast made by three friends who are probably drunk and or high. We are not experts. Do your own fucking research, and welcome to Perspectives from the Void.
Yeah, because it's literally by Pfizer. The actual people who's giving the vaccine, bro.
Who do you trust?
Bro, you literally just said yourself, it's from Pfizer. The people who is making billions of dollars off the vaccine and the government, which they're already making behind the door deals with, bro. Like, my nigga, you gotta wake up, dog. Like, bro, this is some deeper shit, bro. It's deeper, bro, than people getting vaccinated, bro. What's going on right now, bro?
Welcome to Perspectives from the Void. My name is Trey.
And my name is Ty.
My name is Ray.
And we got a few things we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be continuing our conversation about COVID. And yeah, I mean, just starting off, how y'all life been, man? What's been on your mind this week?
I think my life's been okay, you know. Like, I really want to switch up jobs because I've been in there for like 2.5 years. So it's time to make a switch, you know, because I believe when you're not doing something that you truly love, bro, it is spiritual decay. So just that, trying to just stay on my workouts. I mean, then getting this time where I come together with you guys and we have this moment in this space to just speak about whatever's in our mind from the void. So it's been all right.
So a lot of homework, a lot of assignments, reading I got to do. I did watch this movie that I really enjoyed, Men in Black 3.
Classic.
Not a lot of people like the movie according to the reviews I looked at, but I genuinely liked this movie. It was a really good movie for me.
Did you just see it?
Men in Black 3, I just recently saw it. It was really good.
Man, I got a confession for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen a Men in Black movie.
Oh man, it's a classic, bro. Like, I like the investigations of the universe with aliens and also that action but comedy type mix. That was back when movies were like good, when they had like actual plot. You know, now, you know, everything's oversaturated. I mean, like, good movies get made, but you know.
I feel like movies have gotten worse and TV shows have gotten better.
Yeah, they're running out of ideas with movies. That's why they're making so many reboots and just so many remakes. You're just running out of idea or originality.
You know, it's hard to like put new originality into something when you're limited by pretty much 2 hours, unless you're like a blockbuster and you can hold people's attention for longer. Like, there's only so many twists that you can really do in that time.
Right.
There's so much depth you can find in that things. And like, I think as TV's gotten better and like with streaming services allowing people to be more serialized with their stories and stuff, and a lot of better actors getting into there, I think that the genre has really grown and shown that like there's so much more that media can be when there's given more time.
You know, I don't even necessarily, like, I do hear that. I don't think it's necessarily just about time. I think it's just the fact that we're in a dominant particular culture that assimilate other cultures into their framework of what like stereotypes are. So like Hollywood, right? I thought most people would think that it is, well, at least from my point of view, more like white owned. You know, like Warner Brother or, you know, or Fox, or like, you know, these big networks that show all these movies, and the ideas of culture is not being like trafficked, like, or like transferred through enough. It just is old stale ideas of the same people who's in power. It's not diverse enough, basically.
But do you think, I feel like that's kind of always been the case, hasn't it? Like, if anything, like there's more
diverse. That's why I'm pointing it out.
There's more diverse people like who are doing things with. There's more like maybe less ideas because, you know, there's only so many ideas out there. But like,
I don't think it's about the ideas, bro. I think it's about the people who have access to say what comes out or not, bro.
True.
That's what it's about, bro. And those people are mostly privileged and white, bro.
But also, like, I feel like that problem was worse 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
So it has gotten better, but okay, they're not cutting off my arm anymore, but they only cut off my pinky. I mean, it's still a harm, bro.
100%.
You know,
100%.
So I should just be satisfied with what I got.
No.
And behave like a good nigga. I mean, I'm not saying that you believe this, but I'm talking about to a white patriarchal society of, yes, realizing, like, I'm going on a tangent, like, we have came a long way, you know, with slavery and like all these other like historical traumas that we have faced. But people still getting like murdered in the street like animals, bro, in 2021.
My point of bringing that up was not to say that we should be content with the level that we have. The point of it was saying that if movies are just getting worse now, right? If movies are getting worse than they used to be, I don't feel like the fact of it being as corporate owned as it is like the reason for it. I think that there's also something else different because I think it's more closed off to people in the past. If it was more closed off to people in the past, but it was better past there, I feel like there's other issues than just that. Yes, that is a problem. Yes, we need more diverse voices in there because like some of the best movies that have come out in the last few years are people who have not just been in the system of Hollywood in the same bullshit. They've seen the shit outside of them. They've been able to change the fucking game with that shit. Yes. We should continue to push it. But I also think that there's more problems with movies than just that.
What problems are you talking about besides the time-wise then?
I mean, personally for me, I look at it as I think that's the main reason there, because I look at it as like TV shows are made by a lot of the same studios. A lot of the same, the Foxes, the Paramounts, like you see where they're on the streaming networks, the Netflixes, like they're all still in that same area, but with the time to develop these characters, a lot more is coming out to the surface.
I do agree with that particular part, yes, time to develop characters and storylines, yes, absolutely. But the other part?
Yeah, movies are dying out and series and television shows are taking over because to me a TV show or a 12 episode volume is just like an elongated movie and you have that time for character development which you don't have with a 120 minutes for a movie.
And I think that also kind of plays into like look back 20-30 years, I think the American population was a lot more conditioned to very black and white, right and wrong type of stories where there's this like, you'll probably know a better term for this, but like more rigid type of things where it's like we have our good characters and our bad characters. Whereas like a lot of TV, because it is that time, it plays more into real life where people are not perfectly good, they're not perfectly bad. And so you get to see more of the depths of people like that. Yeah. And I think that like with TV, just like in life, it gives that time to really examine the aspects of personality more than
they call them anti-heroes.
I think that that's kind of been one of the main trends in like Phil coming over there. Like, I mean, I'm sure it was before this, but I think the big one that's in my head is Breaking Bad, of pushing that through.
Yeah, like I agree with like developing the story and the character development, bro. But what I said should not be lost on the fact that there's not real diverse people in positions of power.
100%.
I don't think the fact that it's being argued like right now is supposed to be because that's how half of America would do it. So I appreciate that. But when a particular group of people is letting a certain other particular group of people let them know, like, hey, this is not necessarily just about having the time and resources to develop a character's script of their character development and their ethos. You know, it's about who's in the room to actually make those ideas, those characters. Who's in the room to debate about the storylines? Do they have real autonomy? You know, so how about this? Maybe both are real things.
I agree.
That maybe they're just different sides to the same issue.
Yeah, it's not like every TV show is better than every movie. Right?
Exactly. Like, there's some iconic movies like, bro, when Transformers first came out, bro, remember that first Transformers? Like in the early 2000s, bro?
Yeah.
Bumblebee, Optimus Prime and shit, bro? Me and Mikey, bro, we and like one of the bros, we probably went to movie theaters. Like, I seen it like 5 times, bro. I never spent that much on a movie, bro. I actually went and spent like the $10.50 because it was so fucking amazing. You know, it was like legendary. Like there's certain legendary movies when you're out with your peoples. I don't know if you guys were with me, but I went to see Get Out. I don't know if he was there when we went to
I think I was
Get Out.
with you. We drove way the fuck out to
Shockey or whatever, bro. And it was nice, bro. Like the laughing and stuff, bro. Like to enjoy those moments, to share those moments.
A lot of people look at diversity and they think it's just diverse actors or like diverse plot with the thing, but I think that really comes down to the writers because. Like for so long, like white writers have been writing
producers.
Everybody, and like there's only so much that like a white writer can really realistically explain the black experience with. Me as a white person, I can analyze certain things and I can listen to people, and I try to do that as much as possible. But it's still a disconnect for me for being able to write someone who is a fully human person with that, right? Like some people can. I'm not saying like no white writers can ever do it, but it's hard. You have to be really good at that. And having people at least in the room that you respect enough to have their opinions change on those things really makes a difference with that.
Yeah, is there something to be said about white writers writing black characters?
I guess one concept that I've been thinking of lately is freedom. I feel like there's a time where society, particularly this society, certain groups of the society will give up their freedoms to feel safe. And if you feel so unsafe that you're willing to give up certain basic freedoms, then is that really autonomy? Is that really actual freedom? Is it worth it? So for an example, the Patriot Act around 2001, where after the 9/11 attacks happened, the NSA and the government and the intelligence agencies, they were able to go through our phone records. They were able to go through our messages, our Gmails, all of our data without our permission, even if we'd even commit a crime. And now we're getting these controversies about they're selling our fucking data, about how it's affecting the whole election, supposedly, quote unquote. But we're, as a society, is responsible, not just the government or the nation state, but we let them do it because we're willing to give up our freedom to feel safe. So how do you guys feel about stuff like that?
I think my main thing is like, there are certain aspects where it's like with the Patriot Act, yeah, that's fucked up that they're getting all this information and they know everything I'm fucking doing. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want the government knowing what kind of fucking porn I watch.
Jesus. My mom would be so ashamed of me.
Like, I'm just saying, like, you know, that's something that, like, should be my fucking personal business. I don't want them to know when I'm texting my girlfriend, right? But my main thing that my concern with freedom and like that argument is not in every case, but in a lot of cases, freedom is tied into privilege. And I say this because the freedom for a business to exploit people is easier when you have money. A lot of protections are made and people be fighting against those protections because those are people that are more marginalized communities. And I want to make sure that like any freedom does not step on the toes of those people.
I like that. Ray, do you have any thoughts about that?
I don't think I entirely understand to even like have like a legitimate worry. Most of the time, I don't really care, to be honest. I know a lot of people feel like this, but I don't got nothing to hide. I don't care if you know what porn I watch or if you know the dirty text I'm sending to my girlfriend. Nigga, I don't care. But I guess it is an infringement on my constitutional right. But just saying that doesn't mean anything to me.
You know, I definitely think this is the perfect tangent to bridge into the concept of COVID. I think one of the parts that I'm just still memorized or interested about is that the fact that people are vaccinated, but they still need to wear masks. Because I'm like, what's the point of being vaccinated? I'm not as educated on that particular part. Is it just because of different strains that came out? If that's the case, then maybe the vaccination came too fucking early.
So a lot of mask mandates are going away right now. In Minnesota, there's no mask mandate right there. They still recommend you, if you don't have the COVID vaccine, to wear a mask, but they're also not requiring people to. They're not checking people at the door or be like, do you have your papers, please?
I feel like that's what they want to do, though.
That's what they really want to do.
That's the vibe that I'm getting.
It's at a thin line where it can be that easily.
They're very worried that people who aren't vaccinated are going to take their mask off. What should we say about people's autonomy to not get the vaccine versus... I don't know what I'm trying to say.
No, I mean, keep it riding, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean for people to hold their autonomy in the face of not wanting to get the vaccine and still being able to participate in society?
Right. Am I being reckless? I thought you getting the vaccine mean that
the shit's taken care of.
You can't catch anything from me. Or am I mistaken on that information?
So, two things. One, I don't really care what they want to do. I care about what they're doing.
Who?
When I said that they're not checking people's papers to see if they're vaccinated.
By they, we mean businesses and different...
I mean, y'all the ones who said, you're right.
But I heard they are, though, if you want
Some businesses
if you want to travel internationally. I heard you have to have your...
Yeah, and that's already the case with, like, you know, if you want to travel to Africa, you have to have viruses for, like, polio. You have to have, like, a lot of different vaccines with that. Sure. That's international travel, and that's something where it's like you're messing with another country's jurisdictions right there. But I'm just talking about, at least for within the United States, that's not what they're doing now. Now, if they start doing it, that's a separate conversation right there.
And second of all, that is close to.
And to really, when you say they, who do you mean again?
I say like businesses are not checking like papers at the door and making sure that you have your vaccine before you take off your mask and you go into Target. Now a lot of businesses are still requiring masks.
Yes,
but that's their
prerogative. Bro, I work security, bro. We still promote people wearing masks, bro. But the fun thing is, the manager never even had a conversation with me about the lifting of the mask mandate, because I used to give masks to people. Say, hey, sir or miss, you gotta have a mask to be in here, and they can choose to put it on. But now I don't even ask people, bro.
Yeah,
they walk in without one. I'm like, okay, like
bro,
whatever.
Yeah, to be honest, bro, I'm not even comfortable telling people to put a mask on, bro. Just like a personal thing, bro.
I'm just like, put at least on, bitch.
You know, I'm kind of non-confrontational in that way. It is something I need to work on, but I just feel really uncomfortable to be like, yo, you gotta put a mask on. So I gotta try to be like, we got masks back here if you need one, you know. So. But if you don't want to wear a mask, bro, I'm like, okay, cool. I don't want to wear it either, but I got to work.
So the second thing I'll bring up is you were talking about if people are getting vaccinated,
all right,
why does it still matter if other people are wearing masks, right? Because those people want to get vaccinated and want to be safe about it. They're already being protected for it. So the main thing with that is that not everyone can get vaccinated. Right. Some people are immunodeficient. Some people have allergies to vaccines where they literally cannot take that stuff right there. And part of that is just making sure that they're safe. There will always be some segment of the population that cannot take a vaccine.
Right.
We saw this, I forgot what exactly it was. I think it was either like polio or it was something where in the Somali community, right over Cedar Riverside, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of people who didn't take a certain vaccine, and a lot of those cases sprung up out of nowhere, and they're like, what happened here?
I read about that. I used to live in Cedar Riverside too, by the way.
Yeah.
I grew up in Cedar.
There always will be some segment of the population, but like the continued vaccination is important to keep the spread down.
So if there is people who are immunocompromised and some people who are vaccine injury that you said? Allergies?
Yeah.
Why are they like these random vaccination sites? Like how do they know that the person is compatible with the vaccine? They're just vaccinating everyone. They don't do a background check on your medical history, do they?
I mean,
they're giving everybody the shot.
They just poke you with it, bro.
Yeah, like I don't know the specific process yet. I've said my point.
That question is kind of targeted, so I understand this. So yeah,
if you're immunocompromised, that's something that's been found out by doctors before. So usually people who are immunocompromised have like a liver disease.
Bro.
They have something like that where their immune system cannot like react in that same way.
I understand that, bro, but bro, there's a lot of people who ain't been to the doctor in years, bro. They don't know that shit.
Yeah, it's true.
You gotta have a relationship with the doctor, bro. I'm saying for me, bro, I don't have a relationship with the doctor's visit, bro. I ain't been to the doctors in a couple of years, bro, to be honest.
So what should the solution be for someone who is like wants the COVID vaccine and could potentially have those immunocompromised things? You think it should be like a full doctor's appointment or something like that, and like just checking out through 20 things? So a lot of those things, like it takes months
if they want
to
it, bro,
test
there's
out.
no debate. If I may jump in, if the person with immunodisease, if they want the vaccine, there's no debate because they want it. I think the real debate lies in the people who don't want it. You know, the people who don't feel safe getting the vaccine, people who don't feel comfortable getting the vaccine, bro. And they're not going around shooting up shit and nothing. A lot of people are hardworking citizens, bro. They just want to live their life, bro. I feel like a different shift of the COVID issue in terms of how it has affected human beings interacting with each other. I think it's taking away some of the most gentle joys of being a human, of communicating with each other, to see each other's face, to see each other smile.
True.
To be able to just hug someone that you love or shake their hands. And Anthony Fauci said on a news press conference that we'll never be able to shake hands again and shit. I don't think it's that serious. People are, I believe it's something much deeper with fear and how most people are sheep and they're willing to give up rights and certain nuances that's important to human experience just so they can feel safe.
I will push back on that in one instance.
Push back on what exactly? Because I said
yes,
a lot.
I will give you exactly with that. So I think I don't know the exact quote that Fauci was saying, but My guess is that when Fauci was saying this was before a vaccine was developed, right? We didn't know how long it would take a vaccine to be developed. And so at that point, he may have said that, like, this might have been, it might be a long time before people can do that again. But I don't think that, I would be highly shocked if Fauci is still saying that, like, people who are vaccinated shouldn't be shaking hands.
There's people that believe. It's not even just him, but let's get off him. It's people that in our personal circles that believe. Not in our circles, it's people on earth that's like right now, like, you know what? I don't want to go in the store without a mask, even though I've been vaccinated, because I don't want people to be uncomfortable.
I mean, that's their prerogative.
That can be their personal choice, but it's a social norm expectation now for some people to still wear your mask, even if you've been vaccinated, or for people to wear a mask around you, even if you've been vaccinated. If that's the case, what's the purpose of getting fucking vaccinated if we can't be normal around you?
Yes, there are still some people who are going to be on that. There are still people who are germaphobes, right? There's, even before Corona, there are people who, like, want you to wash your hands 3 times before they go into your house and they're crazy shit like that, right? Now, a lot more people are exposed to that just because of, like, the messaging that's put out. And I think that some of it has been overreaction to certain things. I will agree with you on that. But also, like, even think about, like, Aldi's, like when you say when you're working there, right? Like, they're not enforcing that in the same way as they was. They're not enforcing that mask mandate. Things are starting to change since the mask mandate was lifted.
Oh yeah, that's not a debate.
There is a societal change, and there's not that same social expectation for people to wear masks in stores. Some people will still do it, and that's their choice. That's their prerogative to do that. I don't think that we should ban people for wearing masks in there. If they want to do it, that's great. But, like, as a society, with the amount of percentage of people that are getting vaccinated, continuing to get vaccinated, unless there's, like, a major flare-up, it's been determined that there's not as much risk in there. I think that, like, at this point, it makes sense to lift that mask mandate.
All right, cool. Then we're all in agreement.
But I also think that people should still get the vaccine, because just because only 1% of people die from this, that doesn't mean this is a safe disease.
That doesn't mean that everybody should have to shoot themselves up with it either, if only 1% of people die with this. At what point do we call a duck a fucking duck and realize that's not even necessarily about health no more? It's about fucking conformity, about obeying to what people think is best for the masses instead of individual personal right. I feel like that's the very microcosm, that's the very deepest core of what this is about that a lot of people are debating upon, bro. And I believe it starts with personal freedom, bro. And obviously your right isn't a right if your right infringes on the rights of others. But if that's the case, the people who feel that way have the burden of proof. Follow me on that, bro. So people who feel that way, like in your camp, particularly you, bro, you have the burden of proof, bro, of proving or articulating why people should still, why everyone should get vaccinated, even if most people are. Where's the burden of proof?
Just because some people ain't, like, dying from that shit, there are still a lot of effects that come from there. They're more prone to blood clots, they're scarring on their lungs, which can lead to a lot of other breathing issues, especially down the line. People who have COVID are 50% likely to have low sperm counts going forward from that. These are things that are produced going forward with these things. And these are real effects that can put things on there. Like, blood clots in themselves lead to heart disease. And that's the #1 killer out of here. Just because something's not killing you now doesn't mean it won't raise the likelihood of you being killed in the future.
That's how I feel about the vaccine, though. I feel like the vaccine might cause some type of health condition in the later future. I was like,
they rush this shit.
There is a lot of, like, to put it extremely understated, there's a complicated history with the medical community and, like, how it's been treated through a lot of the syphilis experience that Henrietta Watts. I think it's Henrietta.
Yeah, bro,
Watts.
and just big pharma in general, bro. They don't. I don't trust their competency and just in the well-being of their citizens, bro. Which
It's all
us,
about
bro.
the dollar, bro.
They're just masked, yeah, bro. Is the vaccine is forever, right? Or is it only temporary? I don't know.
Yeah, and does it work or not, bro? That's what it's about too. Because if it works, bro, I should be able to hang out with my friend tomorrow, and they should have to fucking worry, even if his whole family's vaccinated.
Yeah.
I should be able to hang out with them and not wear a mask, but they want to wear a mask. So
the fact that they're tripping about that is stupid.
You know, I mean, not necessarily they're there, but it's like him. You know, so I can understand the father.
What's the problem? What are they worried about?
So
they just want to wear a mask in general.
Yeah, like,
but I
don't agree with their being concerned about that, because like like, okay, seasonal flu vaccine is 50 to 60% effective, right? Like, that's what we consider like an average, like, okay, this is a vaccine, like, you know, that's going to be perfect. Like, nothing that we have as a medical science community is ever 100% effective, first of all. But the COVID vaccine, like, in all their studies with it, I was looking up this one, it was a 44,000 person study. Half of them took the placebo, half of them didn't, right? And so they were going through it in the same way as they're testing the flu viruses. It proved to be 95% effective. This has been reproduced multiple times, and it's always been between 90 and 95% effective. This is a different type of vaccine when it's targeting the mRNA strand of it, of your DNA right there. And this has been done by attaching to the ribosomes. This has been researched for decades with it. They've done studies on these things. This is the first one they implemented with it.
This is the first time, right?
Built this research on their studies of MERS vaccines, their studies of SARS.
I feel like we're experiments, bro, to be honest, bro.
Well, people are definitely being used as guinea pigs.
What is there to be said about our natural immune system to fight off COVID?
I mean, what's to say about our natural immune system to fight off polio?
Yeah, bro, a lot of people aren't dying from polio, bro.
People say polio a lot, bro. I hate to say it, bro. I'm ignorant, bro, but the shit don't mean anything to me, bro. I don't even know what.
How's it affecting me,
bro?
Because we eliminated it. But that used to be a huge concern about people in general, because there would be huge segments of people who would just have their life fucked from that shit. And the fact that, like, vaccines have made that not an issue.
How many people got there? Let's search up if we can.
What's
How many
polio,
people
bro?
up?
Is it deadly? I thought that shit like cripples you or something.
Not even about that, bro.
Bro, that
how
in the
many got their
polio, Black Plague, bro. The shit means nothing to me, bro. I don't. You say it, bro, but it's not registered. It means for you to get your point across, bro.
The reason why I would say that a lot of those things don't register is because we don't deal with that on the daily.
Right.
It's not something that we continue to experience with it. If we're looking at like even the flu vaccine that we take, right, that we already have for people who have like comorbidities, like who have weaker immune systems, or like recommended to take in people with asthma, people who are older, people who are younger, that vaccine in itself saves hundreds of thousands of people a year.
The flu vaccine?
Yeah. Like, we look at flu as something that is just like, oh, you get it and it's gone like that. And that is for a lot of people. But there are also a huge segment of people, particularly older and younger people, that the flu is fucking deadly for. If we can save hundreds of thousands of people with no negative side effects, or extremely 0.0001% side effects, like, that's a trade I'm willing to make, because we don't want hundreds of thousands of people just dying.
So the flu has killed more people than COVID, but not everyone has taken the flu vaccine. I don't even know what I'm trying to compare.
Back to the main point of, is it worthwhile taking away our freedoms so for people to feel safe? Because at the end of the day, I'm under the genuine ethos, cowards are afraid to die. A lot of people in the society are fucking sheep. There's a lot of things that kills us. I'm not saying that we should be reckless and that if we have the opportunity to help each other and ourselves, don't do that. But we need to come with a fucking balance. Like, this shit's gonna get ridiculous potentially, from not being able to fly international if you don't get vaccinated to potentially jobs, bro. This is a slippery slope, bro. If you give them an inch, they will take a mile, bro. It has been done just with our data and shit, bro. Make no mistake about it, bro. I think people, they get lured into this false sense of security of, like, they think that they're doing the right thing and stuff. And hell, even organizations that committed genocide thought that they were doing the right thing. Like, we gotta ask ourselves, what is autonomy, and does having the vaccine or not having the vaccine truly impact someone's freedom? Because that's what it's about right now, for me at least. It sounds like you're under the camp, and that doesn't fucking matter. We just need to save people. And if that's the case, then hey, that's cool. But half the country doesn't feel that way. You know, half the country does not feel that way, bro. I believe the answer that we're searching for, from the perspectives of the void, exists somewhere in the middle.
The main point comes down to it is the people who are going to be dying from this, they're the people who don't have access to medical care.
That's not true.
Why not?
Because, bro, you don't know who's going to fucking die exactly, bro. You don't know if rich people or poor people's actually rich people still die from this shit, bro.
Yes, I'm not saying that
Like,
they
what are you
can't
talking
die
about?
from it, but do you really think that someone who has access to medical care and like can be able to see a doctor and shit like that versus someone who is not able to see a doctor and just has to like fight it with just some NyQuil or something is the equal percentage of survival?
Bro, I don't think we're talking about
long-term
healthcare right
side effects?
now. I literally don't think we're talking about healthcare, bro. I'm talking about should I have to wear a mask around people who's fucking vaccinated? Is that a yes or no from you? I just need that.
No.
All right, cool.
No, I don't think you should around people who are vaccinated.
All right, cool.
But for one, it's not like, not everybody can be vaccinated. There are people who can't do that. And so for those people, like, who are unable to do that, by not getting vaccinated, you're exposing them to a lot of bullshit. And you're infringing upon their rights.
I can see that so basically it's given a hard determination that the people who's unvaccinated are the causes of death to the people who aren't. That's a hard determination there that you're making. With that being said, bro, this country, these citizens expose each other to shit that gets each other killed every fucking day, bro.
Is that good?
Bro, it's not about if it's good or it's a bad, bro. I'm talking about personal rights and responsibilities, bro, of being uniform about it, bro, of being consistent. If you have the vaccine, then that's cool. If the other person doesn't have the vaccine, that's cool, bro. Both people made their choice. Now we fucking live with it, bro. It's that simple. Life, you don't get to put a checklist for how people should conform, bro. You know, obviously we have like an agreement.
So the worry is that unvaccinated people are going to be spreaders for people who are unable to get the vaccine.
Which is such a small number.
And there is one more point I did forget to make.
Which is such a small number.
And that's because of the evolution of the virus, right? The more people that get spread to, just by basic evolution, the more it's conforming, the more it's changing, and the more likely it is to evolve past what the vaccine can do now. And then we're back in this same fucking point. Right now, all the variations and shit are able to be solved with the vaccine, are able to be cured with the vaccine.
With this current vaccine.
Yeah.
So people who have the vaccine can't spread COVID.
They're extremely reduced. I may be wrong with the numbers, but I thought I remember seeing it's like they're like goes, you know, like it's like an 80 to 90% drop, right? And there's still a small chance because, like I said, nothing with the medical community is 100% perfect.
And we don't even know those numbers that you just said are even
Yes,
accurate.
I agree. That's why I say I'll preface that. But I know it was a very sizable portion that is a huge drop from there. So I will say that, like, I don't know those exact numbers. But like I said, nothing in the medical community is 100% perfect. Tylenol has fucking ability to give you blood clots and all this other bullshit, right? And we fucking take Tylenol. But the difference is, me taking Tylenol doesn't hurt Rayvon. And the fact is, with some viruses being able to evolve, then it can get past the point where the vaccine isn't become effective and we're back in the same point. The virus becomes more lethal. The virus has more health effects that affect it long term. And as long as we're allowing it to circulate, we're playing with fucking fire.
That's left up to debate, bro. Your concept of fire is different from somebody else's concept of fire, bro. And that's what people don't understand, bro. People want mass conformity, bro, to feel safe, bro. That's what it's about, bro. But you gotta understand, bro, life is so fucking uncertain. And, like, yes, we should do what we can to help each other.
Exactly.
That's never lost upon me, bro. Mm-hmm. But when does it get to the point where it takes away from people's rights? At this point, we're discussing if the chicken hatched before the egg, you know, which one came first. I think that's objective. But at the end of the day, I think it maybe exists in the middle. Like, if 50% of the country is vaccinated, I think that's okay. 50% got it, like 150 million people. I feel like that's perfectly fair. And whatever happens, happens. And it's probably going to be more people vaccinated by the time 2 years go.
Yeah, but that's still like coming into that point where, as the virus evolves, as things change with that, this can become something else that becomes something where no vaccine can stop for at least a time period. And then we're back at the same point as we were last year. We're end up searching for it and searching for it and searching for it and trying to find something that works.
If the virus evolves, we're back to square one? Because vaccinated people aren't aren't going to be protected against the
evolved one.
the mutated.
So what was the point in getting the vaccine in the first? I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're fine.
You know,
that goes back to the flu shot, right? Because the flu shot right there, it saves hundreds of thousands of people a year.
are those ones accurate? I need some Google. Yeah, fuck that. How many people died from the flu?
34,157.
Well, fuck out of here, bro. Like, bro, 34,000 people. That's not 100,000 people, bro. This is in
What is it per year?
34,000. Yeah. Okay.
Per what?
How many people die from the flu in the United States per year? So 36,000, not 100,000, bro. It's not 100,000. So
that,
No, but that's
thing.
but he
that's
said
the numbers who die. I'm talking about the preventing thing. So give me 1 second as I'm looking this up. Bro.
how can you measure a prevention of death?
I'm reading on WebMD from here. A truly dismal flu vaccine could still save thousands of lives as long as roughly 40% of Americans get their shots. At that coverage level, a vaccine that was only 20% effective would avert 21 million infections and almost 130,000 hospitalizations and save 61,000 lives. That's a vaccine that's only 20%
Oh,
effective.
so it's the same thing with the flu shot then.
That's 20% effective, right? Like I said, most flu shots, 45 to 50 or 55% effective, right?
Effective
so
of what?
20% effective virus is
Effective
saving
for what?
61,000.
What is
effective in
effective? Not
preventing
dying?
people. 20% effective for people from getting that virus. So if 20% effective is saving 61,000 lives, then even just at the low number of that estimate of 40% effective on normal years right there, that's 122,000. Now, also here it says later on here, if no one got the flu shot at all, researchers estimated that about 130,000 people would die following 77 million infections and 470,000 hospitalizations during a typical flu season. And for one, that's typical flu season there too. That's still 130,000 lives. That is more people that can fit into US Bank Stadium that is dead.
So people getting the flu vaccine is preventing other people from dying?
Yes. Because
I've never in my life heard anyone say that. Even I know it's true, but like I've never heard like media say that or give as much prevalence as they are the vaccine. It's just a
yeah. I think a lot of that is a lot more awareness of what COVID is doing, because for one, COVID is deadlier than the flu. It's you know what I'm saying, like, because like I said, that's 100,000 people.
Is it deadlier or is it more contagious?
I say both, because like that's 100,000 people dying in a year, right? And COVID killed 500,000 people in 15 months. So let's like subtract that down to the math and 400,000, right?
It killed you said 500,000?
500,000 in America, I believe.
500,000 people died.
Okay,
in
I thought that's the number you
for
said.
1
so
year.
I'm
In
going
America
off.
Which
or
is literally 1% of the population.
in America or
It's still true.
globally?
That
In
was
America.
Okay, yeah.
In America.
500,000 people died in 14 months. From when our first mass lockdown started in the middle of March, that's when COVID actually blew up enough.
Bro, is that a legitimate number?
Because
500,000?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the number you recorded on me, because I remember you looked that up from Google a little while.
how many people died in the United States from COVID last year?
Because there are people that are dying for non-COVID
And
reasons.
they're marking it off.
They had COVID in their system. They didn't die from COVID. They had COVID in their system. They're still ruling to death COVID.
Yes, and that did
I feel
happen.
like
That did happen.
that's inflating the.
Yes, they
So
inflated it.
I looked this up
That
while we were
did
sitting
happen.
outside, because I wanted to have this for while we were discussing this too. And it said, it's not unusual since COVID-19 often causes other serious conditions such as pneumonia or acute respiratory distress syndrome, which rank among the most comorbidities for death involving COVID-19, right? So like that's what they put on there, because like COVID causes that. COVID is the reason, like that why it's happening, but like the specific reason is the pneumonia that's coming from the COVID that's written down on there. A lot of people see that and they're like, oh, well, they wrote pneumonia, they didn't write COVID on it.
So 588,000 people died from COVID in the United States. It's been 33 million cases, 33.1 million reported cases. There's 320 plus million people in this country. That's still 1% of the population. All the houses are not on fire, you know, like not even, it's a corner of a house of a neighborhood of 100 houses that's on fire. And we want people to still wear masks, even if at least 50% of the people in the country is vaccinated. Let's make it make sense. Let's make it make sense. I believe when people are afraid for their mortality, a lot of people become cowards and they want to cling on to life, whatever they can, and are willing to overstep their own rights, other people's rights to do so, just to feel safe. It's been long recorded in history. It has been done before. We have danced this dance before, and for you not to acknowledge that, it's hard on me. And it's not hard on me, but it's like, dang, like we danced this dance before. I'm not saying what you are saying doesn't have like validity or anything. Obviously, it's very educational, and it keeps me more empathetic to the people who has lost members of their family from COVID. To think about those things, but at the same time, I got to be a realist about it.
Okay, yes, it's 1% of the population, but 588,000 people. That's a big number. That's not no small ass little number there. Yes, it's killing 1% of people. Yes, I mean, honestly, even there, probably 1.5%.
Cigarettes kill people in a year. Let's find out. How many people die from heart disease in a year in the United States?
Well, we can't cure heart disease, so that's not even a valid comparison.
Here's a summary from Million Hearts. More than 800,000
I mean,
people
you can
in the United
eat
States
healthy,
die from cardiovascular
can prevent.
disease each
That's
year.
the number one
Every
killer, is heart
3
disease. And that's 800,000 people in a year. Now, we don't have a cure for heart disease.
Yeah, but like eating unhealthy.
Yes, but we do have a
leads
cure
to-
for it for the most part.
leads to, yeah.
But
they do.
that can increase the likelihood of it. But it's not a vaccine where there's one
No,
thing
the vaccine is not even 100%.
No,
So it
there's
doesn't
nothing in
matter.
medical community that's 100%, but that's 95% effective. There's no one thing you can do that's 95% effective to start heart disease. Name me one thing that's 95% effective to start heart disease, and then we can compare the conversation.
I don't think the shots are either that effective either, bro. You haven't showed me no numbers. You can literally, like, bro, I just had to correct you, bro, on the actual flu deaths, bro. So you gotta show me the numbers before you make a claim and like stand on it, bro. I think that's only fair.
Okay, I'm pulling up the study that I read right now.
How effective is the shot? And also, do we trust the source where it's coming from? Look, I'm be honest, like, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but like, it's very sheepish, bro, of just eating up, whatever the mass media tells you. I'm not saying that you are. I know that you're more of an independent thinker, critical thinker than that. But in general, it's like, bro, I think, honestly, bro, COVID, bro, potentially is more about the mass movement of fucking wealth, bro. Because if you notice, bro, like, it took money out of the middle class and the poor from stop working until they started getting the unemployment checks. But Target and like Walmart kept open, but mom and pop shops didn't, bro. I feel like it's the elites, bro, pulling one on us, bro, to make money out of a disaster, bro. People who's in power, bro. I think that's the real thing that's going on, bro. Like, people arguing over small potatoes, bro, when there's much bigger things happening, but they can't even acknowledge it because they're too busy being sheep.
I mean, that's the argument for taking the vaccine, though, is because getting things back to normal, like getting things back to where the impact does not happen on the middle class, it does not happen on the lower class, and these big companies that are consolidating from having these businesses close, ending that will allow these small businesses to come back and allow these people to be able to regain the wealth by opening things up.
I hear you. I like that, and I do support that. But to think that the people in power will be honest about it, bro. To be honest about having people come back to work if they're vaccinated or unvaccinated, and if their wages will be livable enough. Because they can always do something else, bro, to fuck up the money, bro. Like, these big banks, these institutions, they're getting bailed out. But I do think...
So, real quick, because you asked me about where the study I got that from, right? So this was from the 44,000 person clinical trial that was run to test to see if this vaccine is safe and it is effective. So, I mean,
Where's it from? What study?
This was
Who sponsored it?
This was
Harvard?
This was the study that was produced by Pfizer as the 44,000 study that was overviewed by both government and by independent researchers and everything else right there. And I know you're not going to trust that too.
Yeah, because it's literally by Pfizer.
But also,
the actual people who's giving the vaccine, bro.
Who do you trust?
Bro, you literally just said yourself, it's from Pfizer, the people who is making billions of dollars off the vaccine and the government, which they're already making behind the door deals with, bro. Like, my nigga, you gotta wake up, dog. Like, bro, this is some deeper shit, bro. It's deeper, bro, than people getting vaccinated, bro. What's going on right now, bro? It is a fucking power grab.
I'm gonna read a quote, and I know that you don't like this person too much. It is from Fauci, so I'm prefacing that right there.
How do you know if I don't like him? I never said that. When have you ever heard me say I don't like Fauci?
Multiple times you've said
have I said that I don't like Fauci?
Maybe I could be wrong.
Have I ever said that though, bro?
Oh, not those exact.
Yeah, bro. I never said I don't like him.
Okay, you don't trust him as much. You
Bro,
don't trust the things that's coming out, because you were saying that, like, just because you were talking originally about, like, Fauci talking about never shaking hands again and stuff like that, and you're like, I can't trust anything that he's saying.
Yeah, I can't trust some of the stuff.
Okay, so that's why I preface it by saying that. First of all, the determination of whether a vaccine is truly safe and effective is not made by the pharmaceutical company, and the government doesn't see the data at all until way down the process. The data first comes to a totally independent data and safety monitoring board that is made up of experienced clinicians, scientists, vaccinologists, and statisticians. They look at the data and independently determine if it is safe. So,
How do you trust that, though?
How do you trust anything in life, man?
Bro.
At a certain point, like,
No.
I get that you are very skeptical of things, and it's important to be skeptical of things.
I see what the difference is.
But there is also some level where it's like, I'm not experienced enough to do that research. None of us are experienced enough to do that research, right?
But just listen
These
to
are people-
anyone who will give you statistics from the government and special interest groups. Bro, they have shareholders, bro. Like, the fact the last stat you read me was from Pfizer itself, bro, was like, come on now. You literally just asked the organizations making billions of dollars from the vaccine to do a study to see if it works.
On the Pfizer vaccine, but it was not overseen by Pfizer. They're not in the process of doing that. There's independent review boards and independent people who are the experts on that field. The statisticians.
But how do you know that they're independent, bro? That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, everything, like, there's a lot of shit that's corrupt, bro. And look, I think right now, bro, what the wall that we're getting into, which is important for listeners, is that we're both conscientious. I personally think it's a race thing because of, like, me as a minority seeing how I see the country, of how I see how organizations truly work, especially in contrast to people of color, versus like, bro, you're one of the most woke people I know. Like, we don't even got to vouch, bro, but still, you're one of the most woke people that we know, bro. But you're still coming from a position of a white male, bro. Mm-hmm. It's easier for you to trust us, bro, because in a way, bro, these institutions are created in your image of people that look like you. Mm-hmm. Like, we have evidence, bro, of them actually doing experiments on us and shit,
Yes.
bro.
Yes.
And you keep trying to push this shit like, no, this is just like good bread, like, that's like fine, bro. But I think it's the racial barrier now, bro, coming into play of understanding why me and Ray, we actually have a genuine concern about the vaccine in the first place. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that we're both black. Let's really be honest about it, bro. And that you're white and you're more trusting of or supportive of the vaccine. Not saying that all white people are, bro, obviously. But, like, I'm just coming from, like, a privilege perspective, bro.
So I have one question about that.
All right, what's the question?
So, from the group where the race and ethnicity is known for who takes the vaccine, 62% are white, 13% are Hispanic, 9 were black, 6 were Asian, 1% were American Indian, Alaskan Native.
Oh, wait, that's during the study? Or is this like everyone who's been vaccinated?
So this is out of, like, so for not everyone that has been vaccinated, the ethnicity is known, right? But as of May 17th, 2021, it's reported that the race ethnicity was known for 56% of people who had received at least one dose of the vaccine. Recent vaccinations are reaching larger shares of Hispanic, Asian, and black populations. As an overall percentage, the vast majority of these vaccines are being taken by white people. So the question I'm asking...
I ain't even need a statistic to know that, but sure.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
goes
like,
into what I was saying
Yeah.
at first. So what is your question?
So my thing, right, is that if this is something that is meant to target minorities, right?
What do you mean if this is something meant to work?
Because, like, there is a lot of, like, justified skepticism. Like, I'm not trying to hand wave the past that has happened, the atrocities that's happened, the fucking smallpox that was put on the community on purpose in order to fuck up the community, even outside of the medical community. How crack was distributed in order to fuck up the community. I'm not hand waving that away.
So what's your question?
Yeah,
So
bro.
my thing is that if the vast majority of people who are taking this vaccine are white, how is it something like that is meant where that is targeting, or that the negative aspects are coming towards the blacks community from this?
So you're basically saying if white people are taking it, black people should feel safe taking the vaccine?
No, I'm
So let's
saying.
get to the core of it, bro. It's too much of the dialogue, but we're trying to get some real answers, bro. Because, like, that's how I summarize that, bro. 56%, right, of people taking over the vaccine is Caucasian, right? Was that said? I just need a yes or no, because we're going on too many tangents, bro.
So
All right,
yeah,
cool.
61%.
I'm not done. So, like, it basically sounds like, from what your soliloquy is, since more white people are taking the vaccine, even knowing the atrocity that has happened between the government and private sector to black people should still feel safe to take the vaccine, because white people are taking the vaccine because the government is not going to fuck over white people necessarily, or something like that. That's how it comes off, bro. That's how it comes off, bro.
If people's concerns are from that element, right? If people's concern, because I have heard a lot of people with that, right? I'm not saying this is the only, like, this is the one piece of information that should change people's minds on this, but I will say, like, if, like, all those other atrocities that have happened, right, they're targeted. The smallpox was not released in white communities, not released in Hispanic communities, was not released in Asian communities. It was released in the black community. If they are trying to target and fuck people over with this vaccine,
Will they make sure that niggas have it first?
it would be something where it's not the vast majority of white people that are deemed taking this shit.
Well, remember, we still have a choice, bro.
It is.
That's the only thing that's keeping black people from not taking it. Most
Yes.
likely, bro. Besides they say, okay, to get a job, they got to take the vaccine. We're already doing that on some jobs. But, bro, give them an inch, they will take a mile. You know? But, like, I feel like that's such a critical point that we're playing with, is the race part. Because it is a race element to it.
There is.
And I always appreciate your point. You know? You're literally, bro, and I'm not even just trying to, like, you know, praise you or nothing, but, bro, you're genuinely one of the most conscientious, you know, white people I know, bro. On some real shit, you know? So whenever I'm challenging you on these things, bro, it's not necessarily I'm coming at you. I feel like, again, we already know this, but it's about the actual idea. Now, it gets to the point where it may get a little irritating, which is perfectly fine, where, you know, it's like you're not getting that connect from us. You know, we don't have enough trust. They don't have enough capital of credit with us for us to just take this vaccine willingly, even if our more privileged friends are. You know, simple as that. All because y'all taking the first step doesn't mean that we got to follow. You know, straight up.
Yeah, I agree with that. My final point I'll just make.
Yeah, but it's like
I'll bring this into closing and everything. There isn't like one thing. Like I'm not coming here and saying that everybody who does not take the vaccine is the worst person in the world, that we should completely ostracize them for society, and that they're a piece of shit. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I'm trying to come with the best of my knowledge, the best of my research on these things. And so what I encourage everybody else to do is, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But look it up and see for yourself about these things. That's been my number one thing of all time. Something like this, it will always be a contentious issue because, like you said, this is somebody's personal autonomy on that level. But it is also 588,000 people who are missing from this world. That is families. That is mothers. That is fathers. That is kids. That is grandparents, cousins, teachers, doctors, bus drivers, everything. Each one of these people's lives are important. All these people's lives matter to the people that are in those lives. And while it's easy to say that's just 1%, that's very personal for the people who have lost their life. My main thing is that I don't think we'll ever get to the point where even 95% of people are taking this vaccine. But I think that it is the ethical thing to do to take this vaccine to prevent this from evolving into something that will make it more resistant to vaccines, and that will allow it to kill more people, or to give them long-term health effects that can fuck them up for life.
I think the intention is important, and those obviously sound like great intentions. With that being said, yes, there's personal families being affected, and it's a tragedy, and I do wish everyone the best who has lost their life from any type of crisis, not just COVID. But as I look deeper into the inquiry of what it truly means to be human, bro, the matter of the fact is, bro, hundreds of thousands of people of color, bro, are dying or being incarcerated, bro. And it doesn't necessarily come from just self-responsibility, but just how the social contract is set up in society. It's literally, it is what it is type of shit. And people, and this also brings Rich into our next topic when it comes to responsibility and victimhood. What makes someone truly a victim? What makes someone truly responsible? Those different dualisms is so minute. So, yeah, like, obviously I'd be willing to revisit this topic again, but I don't want it to be lost that, at the end of the day, bro, people do die. And we have to understand what risk as a society are we willing to take and what can we live with, and it has to be a balance. It can't be no winner take all shit, because that's what it sounds like certain sides want. It got to be somewhere in the middle.
I guess I need to do some reflecting on my side about me not getting the vaccine and that being a potential threat to people who can't get the vaccine. I'm kind of feeling like my depression and nihilism to not, there's a part of me that's like, yo, bro, if I die, I die. But if me not getting the vaccine and not having that nihilism, is that projecting onto people who can't get the vaccine? I don't know. Is that something to be thought about? But I don't know. I kind of, when the mask mandate has been lifted on Friday, I was kind of stressed out or kind of worried about if I should keep my mask on or not at work. I was like, if I keep my mask on, then all my coworkers would know that I'm not vaccinated. But if I take it off, that means I'm lying, and I'm kind of. I don't,
savage,
bro. I don't like lying, bro. It's like I don't care people knowing that I'm not vaccinated, but I don't know. Maybe I am now. I don't want people judging me and shit. I don't know. I got a lot of reflecting I gotta do on this COVID bullshit.
Thank you for listening to episode 2 of Perspectives from the Void. Sound off in the comments. We want to hear your opinions, where you agree with us, where you disagree with us. Like and subscribe, and I'll put my own channel in the description. I'm going to be doing a reaction/reflection off of this discussion. See y'all next week on Perspectives from the Void.